Okay, so I got trick tagged by Brenda's video for the Halloween tag. So before I go to bed, it's almost midnight, I'm going to get through this. And everyone who's watching, you're tagged too, because it happened to me. So the Halloween tag, first is a list of your favorites. So your favorite candy or treat from Halloween time. It used to be Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Pumpkins, but it's funny, as I get older, I don't want the real sweet stuff anymore. My favorite candy normally is French burnt peanuts, if that tells you anything. So I'm trying to think Halloween candy. Maybe the, the Brax caramel, the square caramel chews that you can use to melt and make candy apples and stuff. Oh, maybe candy apples. That would be good. Okay. Favorite Halloween tradition. And again, same thing with Brenda. There's different things for Samhain and Halloween. Our Samhain tradition is every other year we do a dumb supper, and I really love that too. And on the opposite year we do just a Feast of the Dead, because my family has a very, very hard time with being quiet for an entire dinner. I have 4 boys, and that is near impossible. So we made it every other year. Feast of the Dead is similar. You make 1 plate for all of your ancestors, and of stuff that they would have liked. And then we always kind of write down our favorite memories and talk about them and bring our favorite memories up of them. And then we write down 1 favorite memory from each person. Brings an ancestor to the table with them, their favorite ancestor that has passed. And then we write down 1 favorite memory and we burn it at the table to release their spirit for the year again. So this year actually is a dumb supper though, so we'll be doing that again this year. And then Halloween tradition is different though. So my favorite Halloween tradition, this is terrible, but is shopping. Because Halloween is the one time of year for us witches that we can go shopping in regular stores. Like I buy a whole bunch of black candles this time of year. I buy all kinds of witch stuff. I buy my skulls. All kinds. So I really like the shopping part. I'm terrible. Favorite Halloween movie is Practical Magic, without a doubt. God, I just love that movie. I watch it at least once a year, probably more than that. And I am Nicole Kidman's part in that. I was always the wild child, so couldn't tell it. Now I'm not really the wild child anymore with 4 boys, but whatever. Music or song from Halloween. Tubular Bells, which is the Exorcist theme. Love that. It brings up that scary feeling in me. Favorite past costume was Maleficent. I love Maleficent. I just love her. She's so evil and wonderful. And I spent years making a great Maleficent costume. And then, as soon as I got it perfect, then I got sick of it. So I don't usually do that anymore. I do different stuff. Creature associated with Halloween. Creature associated with Halloween. I love all of them. Zombies and vampires and werewolves and skulls. As far as stuff that I collect, I have a collection of skulls, and if you've seen my videos, you have seen my skulls, which I got some new ones I'll have to show everybody. Okay, so spooky. The strangest or strongest fear. I can't believe I'm going to actually say this. It's hardware stores. Old hardware stores, mostly. Although, no, new ones too, Home Depot and stuff, and I'll tell you why. You cannot be on my altar. My kitties love my altars. I'm going to get a scat mat. You know what that is? It's like, you know the dog fence collar? It's a little shock to them. And I love my kitties, but they keep breaking my stuff. It's not fair. Where the heck was I? Oh, hardware stores. So for a long, long time, anytime I walk into a hardware store, I have a very hard time because of the pegboards that the metal posts that stick out and stuff hangs on the metal posts, like they have, you know, a box of screws hanging on it, and there's 3 or 4 boxes of screws. There's something that makes me crazy just thinking about it. It's starting to give me a headache. There's something about those metal posts sticking out at me that I cannot stand. I cannot stand it. I don't know why. It gives me a headache to think about it. Like, to the point where I remember when I met my husband, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to go into a hardware store eventually, and he's going to think I'm a crazy person. Which he now knows I'm a crazy person, but he loves anyway. It just has always been a strange fear. So there, now you know my weirdest fear. Okay, do you believe in ghosts? Yes, obviously. I guess not obviously, but if you've watched my videos, you know that I do paranormal research also. So yes, I believe in ghosts. And kind of same with Brenda. I think there's different forms. There's spirits who are around you because they love you and they're checking in on you, and there's spirits that are here because they have unfinished business, and there's spirits that are I think probably a bad entity also. I do believe that there are bad spirits out there. I think they're much more rare than people think. Usually, if you have a spirit that you think is malevolent, it usually is scared and doesn't really understand what's going on. That's what I have found anyways. But yes, I believe in ghosts. How do you feel about haunted houses? Well, since I go in and investigate them, I love them, and I used to live in several. Actually, this one is also haunted with my ancestors mostly, but I used to live in a haunted house in Watkins Glen, which was over 100 years old, and we had a spirit that would hang out on the stairs. And I remember the kids grew up there for 7 years, and we would run up the stairs and get mad at them because we knew that they were awake, because they'd be walking down the stairs and they were all asleep in the house. So we had a spirit that was constantly hanging out on the stairs and stuff. And that's where we found out my son was a medium, actually, was in that house. So I love haunted houses, though, because I do find that most spirits are not malevolent. In other words, they don't mean you harm. And I find I really like to connect with spirit. Favorite spooky book? I love Edgar Allan Poe. So I would say any of his, I just love him. What a writer. The dark side of me is very drawn to him. How does the darkness affect you? It depends on the kind of darkness. I have, for the most part, I like the darkness as long as I don't have to move around in it. The older I get, the more I'm afraid of falling in the darkness. But I feel comfortable, like comfort, like a big hug in the darkness, usually. There is a different kind of darkness that I have felt. again, the word malevolent. I have felt malevolent energy in that. You get that spooky feeling of someone looking at you in the window or meaning you harm or something like that. So that kind of creeps me out sometimes. That I don't get very often, but it happens. What is your perfect Halloween? I agree with Brenda in the kids at the door. I love to see the kids at the door, and we used to have them all the time too. But we live in my grandparents' house, which has been here for a long time, and there aren't a lot of kids here anymore. So it's kind of frustrating. We do a lot of stuff obviously for Samhain anyways on that night, but I try to go to at least one Halloween party, like if they have them at the mall and stuff, so I can see all the cute little kids, because the kids in their costumes, it's just the best. It's just the best thing. And now that my kids, this will be the first year, I don't think my youngest is going to go trick-or-treating. He's 13 now, and he thinks he's too cool for it, I think. But this will be the first year since I had kids that I don't even have little ones going trick-or-treating, so I may have to go find my little kid in costume fix at the mall. Okay. Dark goddess. My dark goddess is Hecate. I just love working with her. It's funny, some people, she is very dark. But some people think that she's unforgiving. And I find that when I'm working shadow work within myself, that she really helps me to dig deep and find the shadows that I need to shed some more light on. And I love working with Hecate. It's funny, I can feel her presence come on more and more as the darkness part of the year comes again, which I didn't expect. I kind of thought I was moving away from her. After spring, I really have been working a lot with Maat and some other Egyptian goddesses. And Hecate really is drawing me in again for this time of year, so I think it's a part of doing shadow work. Dark god. It's funny, I think a lot of the gods are dark. I love Pan, and I think he's kind of a dark god, and Cernunnos, same thing. I think he's kind of a dark god, but in a different way. I think as a pagan, at least for me, I focus so much on the goddesses, and that I invite the gods in, but I don't work with them a lot. Your Halloween altar. My Halloween altar is mostly, I bring out, actually tomorrow I'm bringing out all my ancestor stuff. I have an ancestor altar all the time, and then for Samhain time I bring out a huge ancestor altar, and really, my main altar becomes the ancestor altar for this time of year. So I do a lot of skulls, and I have a lot of crystal skulls. I put all of my crystal skulls on my ancestor altar for this time of year. And then all my pictures and my incense, and I have special candles and stuff that I do for this time of year. Black animal spirit guide. We've always had a black cat in my house since I was a kid, and then we carried that on pretty much throughout, and I would say about 9 out of 10 of the black cats that we've had have been familiars before I even was pagan, before I knew what that meant. So I would say a kitty. Favorite tarot or oracle crystal deck for this time of year. actually this year I got a new one that I really like called the Deviant Moon Tarot, and I found that I kind of started pulling that out this season a lot, and people really are enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying kind of the dark imagery is very appropriate for this time of year. And costume, which would express who or what you'd want to be in the coming year. Well, obviously a witch, but I think also a healer and a medium. I started mediumship classes, and I'm working really hard on developing that skill. And my Reiki, I want to bring in as a business this year. So I don't know what a Reiki healer medium witch looks like, but kind of like this, don't you think? So tag, you're it. Halloween tag, do it up. Blessed be everyone.